we're now ready to start our third part. And the third part that we're going to start is our front and our back. And this would be the inside of it. Notice it has dado joints on the side, along the bottom, and up the other side. Excuse me. The dado joints on the bottom are similar to the ones that we did on the side view over here. And this part is the same, although you can't see it on this side. So to get started, I'm going to go up and look at the part for front and back, and I look at the measurements. And the thickness is going to be 3/4 of an inch, like always. The height of it's going to be 10.5, like the height was for the sides. And then the length is going to be 23 inches. So we got to remember those measurements when we draw this. Now the front view of this object is actually going to be a big rectangle, 23 inches long by 10 inches tall. And as you can see in this view, 23 inches long from one side to the other and 10.5 inches tall. So let's get started on it. We're going to go back up to our new part. And when we get our sketch window, we're going to go to our rectangle tool. And we're going to draw. As you draw, you see the top line is highlighted in blue at the top. I'm going to put in there 23. Hit my tab button. Tab makes us go to the other measurement. And as you zoom out, the other measurement, as you move it up and down, you can see it change. The vertical measurement, that's going to be 10.5. And we're going to hit enter. And there's our part. Now, before we, what we're going to do now is we're going to take this whole part and we're going to extrude it, because we can't put those grooves in there yet because we have to extrude it to its thickness. So I'm going to go up to the home view, hit finish sketch. We're going to click on extrude, and the thickness of it is going to be 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. You go ahead, we're going to hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and color that right away. So I go down to my tan and release. Now, we have to cut the grooves into the side of this panel right now. And that's going to be another sketch that we use. So the grooves that we are going to cut are these ones along the bottom and up the side. The ones on the side are pretty easy. If you look at this detail A right here, detail A, they're going to be 3/4 of an inch from the edge in and 3/8 of an inch deep. So I'm going to draw that first. So before I can do that, before I can draw on here, I have to sketch on here. So I go up to this button up here at the top that says Create 2D Sketch. And I click on it, the top of it, and then I aim at the front of this project and I click. And as you notice, we get a grid on it just like we had before when we were drawing. And there's that sketch over here. I'm going to turn it so I'm looking straight on at it because it's easier to draw straight on. Now all I need to do is take my rectangle tool and draw from this top corner all the way down to the bottom. And to draw it to the bottom, it's going to be 10.5 down. And the width across this way is going to be 0.75. So 0.75, tab. And as you can see when I tab it, it's on 10.5 when I drag it to the bottom, and that's where I want it to be, so I'm going to click. So there's my rectangle, 10.5 by 0.75. I'm now going to go to the other side and do the same thing. I'm going to click on the corner, and I'm going to drag over and all the way down, and you see how when I go down it locks in at 10.5 there. I just hit my tab button. Now I'm going to hit tab again for the bottom, and I'm going to put 0.75, and I'm going to hit enter. So I just drew the two rectangles, 10.5 by 0.75. Now I'm going to draw my third rectangle for the bottom slot, which is going to be the one that extends all the way across the bottom right here. So to do that, I'm going to guesstimate and just start a rectangle on the bottom here and drag it all the way across to the other side till I hit this side. And it says it's 21.5, which is where I'm going to leave it because it's locked into both sides. So I hit my tab button, and the height of it's going to be 3/4 of an inch like it was on everything else. 3/4. And I'm going to hit enter. Now the distance of this rectangle here needs to be like it was on the side, 1/2 inch from the bottom up. So I go to my dimension tool. I select the bottom line, and then the bottom line here, and I drag down, and I change this measurement from 1.36 to 12.5, which is a 1/2 inch, and I hit enter and watch what happens. So it pulls that right down. Now, in order to make this thing extrude properly, I'm going to take my trim command up here, and I'm going to come over to the side. I'm going to trim up, zoom in on it. I'm going to trim up this little intersection. I got to click twice, and it opens it up. I'm going to come to the other side and pan over here. I'm going to click twice again. 1, 2. Now, when I get in there like that, it says remove dimension to do the operation. The reason why it won't do it for me is because I wouldn't dimensioned it before. So I'm going to click on that and delete it. And then I'm going to trim it. 1, 2. And it's gone now. So we now have everything highlighted that we want to cut out. So I go back to my home view. I click on Finish Sketch, and I'm ready to extrude. To extrude it, I hit the Extrude button. I then aim for the region I want to extrude, which, see how it highlights? I click on that. Now we have one thing that we can't hit enter yet, because right now we're adding to it 1 inch or 0.75. We want to cut. So we're going to click on the second button, and the distance we're going to cut is going to be half the thickness of the panel, which is 0.375. Notice how it only goes, when you zoom in, it only goes halfway in. And notice our drawing out here, it goes halfway in here. So when we get it in the right direction, the second button going out, 3.75, we hit OK, and it will cut that piece out. And if you take a look at it and zoom in on it, cut that whole piece right out of that corner. And that's it for the front and back. If you would like to view it and see the edges better, if you go up to your View tool and click on View, and then go over to Visual Style, and click on that, go down to Shaded with Edges. When you zoom in on it, it just shows the edges better for you, okay? But once you're done doing that, just simply go back up and go back to your model space to where we started from. Now let's go ahead and save this part. Click your Save button. This one's going to be called Front Dash Back. And that concludes our third part. Final piece we're going to make is going to be the top of the box. And if you notice the top, it's really the same as the bottom actually. It's in the same plane and the same appearance, only it's on top. There's a couple other differences too. If you notice on the top, it has a rounded edge on the sides and on the front, but on the back it doesn't. So all we have to do really is draw this front edge first, like we did on the bottom, down here. Draw the front edge. And then after that, we'll round the corners or the edges here. And the rounded edges, if you take a look at this detail up here, it shows a picture of it right here. They're 1/2 inch right here. Okay? So let's get the size of the top. If we take a look at it, there's one top. It's 3/4 of an inch by 12.5 by 24. So to start a new part, I'm going to go out to Inventor, create a part. And we're going to draw a skinny rectangle because the front view will be skinny, and the length's going to be 24. Enter 24, hit Tab. Now I have to put the thickness of the wood, which is going to be, I'll zoom out so you can see a little bit better here. Zoom and pan. Is going to be 0.75. Then I hit Enter. Go ahead and finish sketch. We're going to extrude that. And I remember the distance from before is 12.5, 12.5 from my material list. Hit OK. I'm going to home view that so I can see it. I'm going to go ahead and round the front edge and the two sides using a command called Fillet. If you can remember in AutoCAD, Fillet is rounding things. So under Fillet, I click here. I change the radius to 0.5. I have to hit Enter in order to recognize it. And then I'm just going to move this to the side a little bit and click on this edge. It's got to be the top edge. Top edge there and the top edge there. And I hit Apply and Cancel. My last step for the top will be to change the color to tan again. Hit T for tan, click on it. I will then save it. And I will name it Top along with my other 3 parts. And that is it for all of our parts.